My best story on rental rates was when my dad owned in the 1970s. He had a big industrial building along the Long Island Expressway in suburban New York, on Long Island. And it had a massive parking lot that was at the time almost not being used at all, because inside the building were all sorts of military hardware from a defense contractor and maybe about a dozen employees. So it was an extremely underutilized parking lot with a long-term lease. And a cell tower guy called my dad up, and cell towers didn't even exist at that point, but it was a guy that built towers at that time for microwave antennas, which were becoming a big thing then. And he said, I need about 5 or 6 spaces, because it turns out that your building is the only place on Long Island like where I can build a tower, because most people hate the look of these towers. So he was able to find that this one location allowed it, because it was right on the expressway. It was kind of an ugly zone. And my dad said, well, and he said, well, how many parking? He says he needs about 6 parking spaces to build this thing, maybe 7. And my dad's thinking, well, I see I have 200 extra parking spaces. So my dad says to him, what rent would you pay? And he said, well, I'd probably pay about $15,000 in rent. And my dad says, well, for $15,000, forget it. It just doesn't seem to be worthwhile for us to get involved in it. And then the guy said, well, you know, it's possible that I could pay $20,000 per month. Let me just do some calculations. Now, my dad was thinking $15,000 per annum, and the guy was thinking, when he said $15,000 per month, because my dad had no idea what these things were worth, because this was just at the beginning of the tower era. Now, the deal got done at around $20,000 a month, but we years later, found out that this guy was renting out this tower for about $1.5 million to $2 million a year, because he had like 30, 40 cell sites on it, or some, I don't know how many, like a whole bunch of cell sites. So he got the last laugh. But my dad always told that story, which is always reject the first offer and listen, don't speak.